So if you want to see straight up, this is like Soviet era level propaganda I'm about to show you from Jen Psaki, who works for the Democratic Party and the establishment.
So she's a press secretary, which
for Joe Biden.
We all know is a liar. It's always been whoever you voted for.
And then, but the press on her last day, they said, "Thank you for your service." That's what the press was saying. So she's been lying to you. That's her job.
So they decided to have.
Thank you for your service.
Idea. What if she just lied on a show, like press secretary, the show? That's what this is.
Yes,
so
that's what this is.
It's that level of lying of press secretary.
That's
maybe a little more. She can be a little edgy and lie a little extra.
Yeah, well, she puts a little more acting into it, right? Boy. They obviously sent her to acting school. Watch this. So they're actually going to make up stuff. They're going to clip Donald Trump to make it look like he's saying the opposite of what he's saying. Yeah. Ready? Here we go.
After a long stretch of dark political predictions for Democrats and a lot of freaking out over poll numbers, things did start to feel a little bit better this week.
Why? Did your dealer finally get back to you?
Democratic governor was reelected in Kentucky. Democrats swept control of the Virginia legislature, which most people were not predicting. And the people of Ohio turned out in droves to protect abortion rights in their state. You might have found yourself thinking, all right, maybe things aren't so bad.
But only if you follow zero news besides those three things.
It's like a it's like a kid show.
Yes. That's how she's talked. That's how she's delivering.
Hey, everything's Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yes.
I'm a news communicator.
That's right. That's what she is. Here we go.
Maybe I shouldn't be so terrified about the safety of democracy and my rights after all. The forces of...
I mean, let me just say, it doesn't take a Michael Rappaport level intellect to figure out things are really bad. Jesus. And so, okay.
Good or winning out in the end. And I'm going to tune this all out for a while. I have other things to worry about. If that's how you're feeling, I kind of get it. And there are some things to feel relieved about. But at the same time, the threat of a second Trump term is still very real. And the things he is saying right now are some of the most concerning things we have ever heard him say. So it's important for everyone to really start listening.
Okay, before I watch any more of this, I can already guess that this is going to be an out-of-context clip. And how desperate are you that you can't find something awful enough that Trump actually said?
You know that one drop of blood gallon for theirs comment?
Yeah.
That's a great awful one that sticks out in my mind. We're going to take a gallon of their blood for one drop of our blood.
So listen to this part. Listen to this clip that they clipped. And just know as you watch it, he's actually saying the exact opposite. Watch this.
If I happen to be president and I see somebody who's doing well and beating me very badly, I say, go down and indict them. Mostly what that would be, they would be out of business. They'd be out. They'd be out of the election.
If they're beating me, go down and indict them. Trump is forecasting that in a second term, he will wield power however he chooses, unconstrained by the rule of law. This is some truly scary, authoritarian, banana republic type stuff, and we should hear it that way. Just yesterday, he took...
And we should hear it that way.
So you're fear-mongering that Trump might come after all of you. That's what she's... Democrats and the corporate whore media?
Yeah.
Wow, talk about having your finger on the pulse of normie concerns.
That's my number one. But will Jen Psaki and the rest be okay?
Hey, never mind. I don't have health insurance, but Trump might go after the Democratic establishment. We got to take to the streets, Kurt.
That's our democracy.
Forget about World War III. We got to protect Hunter and Joe Biden.
Yeah. The most vulnerable among us. Look at the letter. I just realized inside with Jen Psaki, look at the childlike comedy lettering of her. It looks like, what is this, an animated show? Look at that, MSNBC.
Right here?
Inside
you mean?
with Jen Psaki. What is it, like it's like Rachel Ray, but not as intellectual.
Seems kind of sexual inside Jen Psaki.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, whoa.
Right? Inside of Jenna Jameson is the last time I heard that.
Banana republic type stuff, and we should hear it that way.
Yeah, we know it's scary banana type republic stuff. because you've been doing it for the last 8 years. Here we go.
Just yesterday, he took to Truth Social to imply that Democrats, or any political opponents, frankly, are the greatest threat to America and need to be rooted out like vermin. Vermin is the word he used there.
Oh my God, he used the word vermin. Wow, Jen, that's a lot nicer than the word I use for you.
Me too. I would have to agree with that.
And it's not just rhetoric. Remember, the Washington Post reported just last week about specific plans Trump and his allies have drafted to put his words into action. On top of planning to launch investigations into people who dared to critique him or disagree with him during his time in office, including people who worked for him, his team has also started to map out plans to invoke the Insurrection Act on his first day in office, which basically would allow him to dispatch the military against civil demonstrations. Think about how crazy that is.
Wow, he's going to send militarized police against protesters. Do you mean he's got a copy of Obama's playbook?
Yeah, like, is he? Wait, he's not gonna send them undercover to get them to do violent acts?
How bad do you have to be to make up shit about a game show host, pro-vax, pro-Israel, WWE wrestler?
Yeah, well, yeah, she's.
Yeah.
I got to give it to her. She is funnier than Samantha Bee.
She is. Oh, she is. Wait till you see the clip of her saying the cunt. Oh, it's fantastic. Except she's not going to apologize for it like Samantha
Except
Bee.
she won't apologize
That's right.
for calling Melania a cunt.
Oh, and in the same Univision interview, he also defended his family separation policy at the border. And new reporting from the New York Times this weekend confirms he also...
Are you joking?
Joe, you got to be... Do you know that Joe Biden and Barack Obama deported twice as many Hispanics as him? Joe Biden and Barack Obama built the cages that you accused Trump of
They're
putting
finishing
Hispanics
the wall.
in.
They just reported that.
Right now, Joe Biden is trying to finish the wall, but at the same time, keeping an open border policy. And they can't find 100,000, is the video I saw. They can't find 100... Was it 100,000?
I thought it was like 85,000 children.
Something unbelievable amount of. I keep getting the same spam call every day.
Wait, so
Block
if
it.
I don't want to be tracked everywhere I go by the government, my only option is to renounce my citizenship and then sneak in illegally?
That's it.
That's
Yeah.
how I can avoid. Okay.
Listen, this is unbelievable. For everything they're claiming Trump is gonna do, they already did, and they're currently doing.
plans for sweeping raids of undocumented immigrants, mass deportations, and the creation of giant camps.
Joe Biden went to court to make sure private detention centers that housed illegal immigrants stayed open against local laws. That's what Joe Biden did. The guy she used to work for. Does she go to the same hair dye as Carrot Top? Because that's what it looks like. That's definitely a dye job. That's
Carrot
not
Top, look, whatever else you say about him, his dye job is good.
is good, solid.
You know, that's like
He wants
probably
to-
the best looking. It's probably one of the best features of dye job.
Yeah.
State the Muslim ban, something he also repeated this weekend.
He might reinstate the Muslim ban. You know why Trump had to ban Muslims at the airport? Because Barack Obama spent 8 years bombing the shit out of them. No one ever asked that question. Why are there Muslim refugees at the airports in the first place? Because Barack Obama overturned their democratically elected governments, decapitated them, and then bombed the shit out of them and turned their country over to terrorists. That's why. This is
The Muslim
amazing.
ban, they're bombing them by the truckloads.
By the
right
truckloads, they're bombing them.
now. Yeah, wow.
When he was asked about it this week, about how the U.S. can stop the killing of innocent people in the Israel-Hamas war, he basically said we should just let it all play out.
That's basically what Joe Biden's doing right now. And not only that, Joe Biden is sending billions of dollars to them and weapons and bombs so they could do it. This is Soviet. I mean, if you were in,
Dude, this is like Shusha from Brazil. Remember that like kid show? It was like this chick with big tits that was like also an adult and a kid show because Brazil's weird. They made fun of it on The Simpsons when they go to
Oh,
Brazil.
really?
And he's like, Gucci. And they're like, boy, Brazilian kid shows are weird. It's like, this is like children's show. Soviet era, I feel like they talk to you a little more like a grown up, but I'm not from there. But this seems very childlike.
How dumb do you have to be to not know that everything she's saying that Joe Biden is currently doing?
That's what I don't get, because
That's the weird thing.
if you're dumb enough to fall for this, why would you be watching any news?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be following like that Kelsey football player and
Well, the people
Taylor Swift or something?
Well, the people I know that watch this, they do it. It's what George Orwell said. It's their 5 minutes of hate, that you have a psychological need for this. And
That's
that's
on a treadmill or a Peloton. This is like on,
yeah.
you know, and you're like just kind of vaguely in the zone. That's my guess.
And yet, the hand-wringing and cocktail party speculation about an alternative to Joe Biden is continuing.
I like this. Moments away. Jamie Raskin. Kurt.
All right. Pirate Jamie Raskin.
Arr.
Will continue. Guess what? Joe Biden isn't perfect. No candidate is, by the way.
Are you sure? But Hillary was perfect.
Oh, well, come on.
No candidate.
No
is perfect.
candidate is, by the way. When they say he isn't perfect, they mean he's demented. Is that what you mean? No, wait to listen to what she means.
Have to understand what the alternative is here. If elected to a second term, Donald Trump would prosecute anyone he deems an enemy, unleash troops on protesters, and essentially unravel the rule of law as we know it.
The rule of law as we know it.
You mean where you abuse it, how you see fit?
Whatever you feel like. You mean like when you go after Donald Trump and prosecute him because he's going to beat you in an election? You mean like that? You mean like how you stage a fake insurrection on January 6th so you can criminalize an entire political movement? You mean like that?
I guess
If Donald Trump's going to do what you guys already did, that is scary.
Look, he's not a perfect skin suit, Joe Biden. But we'll just
And this time, he plans to line his administration with people who will actually help him do it.
Why? I wonder why he didn't do it the first time.
Oh, he's not hiring any of the people back. He remembered everybody that double-crossed him.
Yeah.
And this time no one's going to be in there to sabotage what he does.
It's weird that he already had the presidency and we still have our democracy. Why didn't he take it away then, Kurt?
Well, this time he will. And by going after Jen Psaki's insides.
This is the biggest dismissal of dementia I could ever imagine. Watch this.
With people who will actually help him do it.
Watch this.
But sure, Joe Biden is 3 years older and occasionally trips over things.
That's not what people are upset about.
Do I have dementia? Why are you talking to me like this?
He occasionally trips over things. No, that's not what it is.
She's talking to me like I accused the Jamaican nurse of stealing from me when I wasn't looking in the old phone. Hey, she steals. Was she really that bad? No, but
that's the problem with Joe Biden. He occasionally trips over things. Those things being, like couple 100,000 dead Ukrainians, 5,000 dead Gazan babies.
Anthony Blinken's House of Cards diplomacy with China.
There's a lot to be concerned about right now when it comes to a second Trump term. The speeches are getting much more disturbing and much more unhinged, and we should all hear it that way.
Wait,
it's also
don't you have an
important to
airtight
talk
case that's going to stop him? I thought the walls are closing in. Don't you have a great case against him?
Yeah, I thought
he's going to jail. He won't be president, right?
He's been indicted 94 cases of felonies, and we even with all this, the majority of Americans want to vote for that guy. Even with all this garbage, all this fear-mongering that this guy is somehow he's Hitler and Stalin and Idi Amin put together.
Yeah.
He's every bad thing in the world, and he's still beating you. This really is, look at that face. This is the shittiest, and it's not working. It only works to the people who already watch this.
There's got to be some way to find the demo of who watches this. It's not a lot of people, that I know. That much I can be sure of. It's not very many people. But what age is it for? It's like older adults with the minds of children?
I'm going to say it's most of the people I used to do comedy with in Los Angeles.
So it's Gen X. Yeah, because it has a very like sub-Samantha Bee feel.
Yes.
Where they're like, let's not even try the pretense of it's a comedy, but just have the attitude.
Yeah.
All of this, and important to call it out. But there is nothing more important than digging into his actual plans. The faintest of silver linings here is that Trump is warning us, in his own voice, with a microphone on and a camera rolling, by the way. He's telling us exactly what he plans to do.
And we are twisting it to make it seem like he's saying something else.
Like, I don't want him to do that, by the way.
I know. We all want him to do that. I want him to go after you.
I mean, that's the thing I'm mad at him about from before.
Yeah.
he didn't already out.
He didn't lock her up.
We'll just need to listen.
So you want to hear what Donald Trump actually said?
Let me get. Oh, I can't wait.
So let me.
I already know from how it sounded from the out of context thing. You can already tell what he was saying.
So
yeah.
So what they're claiming that Donald Trump is going to do, they're currently doing to Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
They're currently doing that to a political movement, and they're currently doing that to Stop Cop City, to the people protesting against the expansion of the police state.
Black Uhuru movement, which got grabbed up as if they supported Putin.
That's right. Where was and Cornel West never brought that up when he came on our show, did he?
He called you white supremacists, but you meant I think you didn't mention them. But same thing.
The black
picked up on bullshit. Yeah.
Joe Biden was justified when they went after the black Uhuru movement. This black socialists.
Uhuru, not Yuhu.
They went after the black Netanyahu.
Yeah, the black Netanyahu movement. I think they're good.
And again, Cornel West you just missed that one.
Yeah.
Cornel West just missed that one.
Yeah.
So here's what Trump actually said.
You say they've weaponized the Justice Department. They weaponized the FBI. Would you do the same if you're reelected?
Well, he's unleashed something that we've all known about this for 100 years. We've watched other countries do it. And in some cases effective, and in other cases the country's overthrown or it's been totally ineffective. But we've watched this for a long time, and it's not unique, but it's unique for the United States. Yeah, if they do this, they've already done it. But if they want to follow through on this, it could certainly happen in reverse. It could.
So what he's saying there is that he doesn't have to go after his opponents, that they're so bad that they're going to go after themselves.
And they are.
And they... So Trump is making the exact opposite point that Jen Psaki told me he was making. Didn't see that coming, Kurt. Didn't see that coming. Jen, if I thought Trump really would do any real thing to destroy the establishment, I would vote for him.
Yeah, right.
But I know he's not going to do that. And you know how I know he's not going to do that, Jen? Because you told me he was going to do it.
You can set your watch to it, Jimmy.
And that's how you know it's true. So, because whatever Jen Psaki says, the opposite is true.
It's amazing. She's got, I would say, 99.9% perfect record.
So there's a little
Her
bit.
and the Mad Money guy do the opposite of whatever.
Kramer, Jim Kramer.
You cannot go wrong going opposite of that.
Go do. Yep. We used to have a friend. I used to bet football, and we had this guy who was a loser. Right, he would always lose.
He's a mush.
And so we would call him. We would all get together at my brother Danny's house, and then we would all make our bets from there. Call our bookies, and so before we did, we'd call him. Somebody would go. We'd go. Everybody, shh, and then we'd call this guy. I don't want to say who it was, and then we would ask him, "Hey, what are your picks?" Right?
Was it Keith Robinson? Because that's who we went against.
And so he would give us our picks, and then we would call the bookie immediately and do the opposite.
Yeah.
And so we fucked up. Because we did it. We called him. He gave us his picks. And then we called the bookie. And except we didn't call the bookie, we called him again. Oh. And he goes, hello. We go, okay, here's our pick. So we did it. And it was the exact opposite of everything he just said. And then he caught on to what we were doing.
Oh.
Okay, he had some more to say. Here's what he says.
Certainly happened in reverse. What they've done is they've released the genie out of the box. You understand that. They've done something that nobody thought would happen.
So he's saying what Jen Psaki just accused him of going to do if he wins. He's saying they've already done this. And now the genie is out of the box, as he would say. It's supposed to be the bottle. But anyway, that gets him... that gets it, but that actually gets him higher poll numbers. That gets him more votes when you fucking do stuff like that. So... because that's what regular people go, I talk dumb like that. And so they love that. So he's saying the genie's already out of the bottle, meaning that the Democrats are already doing this. The thing that Jen Psaki is trying to make you afraid that Donald Trump might do, he's saying they already did it.
Imagine if more than one of us did it, though.
Imagine if,
And it was very popular. I got 70.
Here, let me back it up. And he goes, imagine if I did.
Done something that nobody thought would happen. They've taken a president who was very popular. I got 75 million votes, much more than that, I believe. Mm-hmm. No president's ever gotten that many votes. And they've taken that number of people, and I think you can double it or almost you can triple it in terms of the feeling. You can't do that. You can't go after people. You know, when you're president and you
He just said you can't go after people.
Yeah.
He just said the opposite. You can't do that. You can't go after people.
done a good job and you're popular, you don't go after them so you can win an election. They've
He can't be saying the opposite more. Here we go.
done indictments in order to win an election. They call it weaponization. And the people aren't going to stand for it. But yeah, they have done something that allows the next party. I mean, if I happen to be president and I see somebody who's doing well and beating me very badly, I say, go down and indict them. Mostly that would be, they would be out of business. They'd be out of the election.
So he's saying the next person, the next party that's in power, and let's say if it was me, I could do that. He's saying if. He's not saying I'm going to do that.
Leap.
Yeah.
So him saying why it's bad that they set which everybody knew from out
he's
of
saying
the gate.
This is why it's bad for them to set this precedent because now I could do what they're doing
And
right
so,
now.
You know how
not that I'm going to do it. He's saying I could do it.
But this is how they're like our State Department's dealings. Like if he thinks of the worst thing, we have to do it to him first. Like we had to not keep our word with Putin or with any of our treaties because he's a bad man. So we had to break our own treaties that we came with like absolute pieces of shit because he's a bigger piece of shit. I just know it.
Believe me, if Trump was going to do that, I would vote for him. But again, I know he's not because Jen Psaki told me he was gonna.
He's 95% gonna do whatever the goddamn secret shadow government wants. He's just not going to do 5% of it, maybe.
Yes.
He might hit 100. He might not. He's a little bit of a wild card. He still can't have that.
He still bombed Syria.
Yeah.
He still dropped the biggest non-nuclear bomb ever in Afghanistan. He still did send the weapons to Ukraine. What else?
Pompeo praised his antagonizing of Russia.
Yeah, it's right. He actually did. He ramped up the drone war.
Well, but I bet he would have when it got to this moronic thing going on with Ukraine. I bet he did have a limit. He did. It would have been way too much and like a crime, and then they're losers. They're fired. He would have let him fired on Zelensky.
And they call him. They accuse him of collaborating with Nazis or inspiring them when they're actually funding Nazis in Ukraine. Literally, $100 billion to Nazis.
Not to mention all the Fed groups.
Not to mention, we're going to get to that. Let's see what else he says.
In my case, there was such pathetic indictments like I challenge the election. I challenge the election. Everybody challenges elections if they think they're wrong. The Democrats challenged my election in 2016. Almost everybody, they challenged it. Well, nothing happened there. So these are political indictments. These are Biden indictments. And the people get it. They really get it. It's been very impressive to watch. Polls came out today.
So that's what he was saying. And now you know the rest of the story. Wow. Americans are the most propagandized people in the world, and they don't know it.
I'm guessing what MSNBC is for at this point is people with like Twitter accounts that have like lists of pre-blocked off people. So there's no other information getting in than just the kind of people that watch MSNBC. That's who would fall for it. A lot of Mastodon accounts.
Yeah, Mastodon. I looked up a guy who I like, and I was like, oh, I want to go send him a DM, and I looked him up on Twitter, and I went to and he's like, you catch me on Mastodon. I'm like, are you fucking?
Oh, what a fun! It must be a really great, especially now with the Israel thing going on. That must be great.
Oh, it must be great over there.
Over on Mastodon. They must be really.
Hey, come see us doing a live stand-up show. We'll be in Burbank, California, Oxnard, California, Venice, California, Palmdale, California. Then we're going to Omaha, Des Moines, Milwaukee, Lansing, Bend, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, and Boston, Massachusetts. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets.